Today's service is application integration. Before I start this, same old thing. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe there. Do share the video to your friends, colleagues, whoever is more interested on cloud computing, AWS, especially people who are giving solution architect examinations. Maybe any service, any examination, these services are important. A small statutory warning for today's class. It may be a little bit difficult. I would try to make it as much as beginners is concerned. But if you have not really heard about this before, or maybe you are a fresher, or maybe you have not worked on this kind of domains, you have to take some extra effort to Google a couple of terminologies. So let's start. AWS Step Function, very important topic for a solution architect examination. What it does, it's a serverless, fully managed application integration service. What it does is very simple thing. It creates a pool, pushes that pool into the other services, integrate the multiple applications, services, multiple AWS services into one bucket, and says that these tasks to be performed one by one. Maybe sometimes it is parallel, sometimes it is single, waiting for the other task to complete. Sometimes it's a parallel task, which all these things you can configure it in through this service. A very similar application, a service, very similar service is Even Bridge, Amazon Even Bridge, which does almost the same thing. Very similar to Step Function, but it does on an event basis. What is event basis? Event Bridge does, it creates a event sequence of your own application or a SaaS based application to work with other web service, other AWS service. So the difference is, Step Function is only for the AWS services talking to each other, one service calling another, one service calling another, couple of service calling parallelly. Some of them are waiting for the other task to complete. These are the things which is happening within AWS service. And Even Bridge is a service which is used specifically for a software, SaaS products, like a software as a service products, and your own application and web service. So it's a combination, it's a little bit of a wider aspect of Step Function. Simple notification service. Simple notification service is more of a it's a secure and durable way of integrating the different kind of associated applications. For example, I give you it's more useful when you have to decouple a microservice and send a notification from one microservice to another microservice. I'll give you an example that would more make the understanding more clear. Say, for example, you have a application which is made by you, and there is somebody from outside uploads a image in S3 bucket. S3 bucket sends a SMS notification to your application or to a microservice which is residing in your application. That application calls another SNS or maybe a Lambda function to call a email service, which is a simple email service. Amazon is already having it. So this is a kind of flow which do not needs to have a trigger or maybe not a pull required to fetch data for it. So that is what is SNS is. Traditionally, there were a lot of message broker system. When I say what is message broker, it's actually a message which needs there is a consumer and there is a producer, and there is a there should be a queue service or maybe a residing service of these messages. What does it do? What it does, it creates a message and transform that message in between, or maybe sending couple of other applications as messages, and invoke some other applications API, or maybe calling multiple APIs consequently. These were used traditionally for a long time, and these services are these are typically called as a message broking services. I use personally a service, similar message broking service called ActiveMQ. It's a quite old service. It's built up on Java, and when a message queue in ActiveQ was used, and I believe there are a lot of other applications which are using ActiveQ nowadays, primarily the legacy applications, for which you need a service. If you have to migrate your application to the server, you need a service to migrate it, and that is Amazon ActiveMQ service. Or message queue service. This is a service which uses extensively in use when it comes to migration projects. Very similar service called Kafka. Kafka is also Kafka is not exactly, Kafka talks to the ActiveMQ sometimes, or maybe Kafka is also used extensively. It's an Apache product and it talks to Apache Spark. What does it require? It works when you're working with a ActiveMQ. It almost works like a connection factory. Connection, start start. There's a method called start, and then it sends data to a create producer and sends the data, and there is a create consumer and receives the data. Kafka works it more in an advanced way. Kafka, I started using Kafka in 2011, if I'm not wrong, and what we are doing is we are sending a set of requests in a topic, and the topic used to have a consumer and a producer. So producer sends the data to the topic, and the topic is consumed by the consumer from the other end, or sometimes it pushes the data to the consumers. This is also used with Apache Spark. Apache Spark is also managing these kind of calls here and there, but as of now we will not be discussing much. It's not really very important to know the in-depth detailed implementation in solution architect exam, but yes, you need to know what these services are. What if you have to put data into a multiple data source, and you need a secure and reliable API, flexible API for it? AppSync is exactly for this. AppSync helps you creating flexible data API data sets, and securely handle that it can be integrated with multiple data source and put datas into a multiple way. Why is this required? This is required because nowadays a lot of migrations are happening, and when the migrations are happening, you can't you actually cannot afford to push data into a single database, because you are experimenting at this point in time, or maybe you don't want to hamper your production data. That's the reason you need some mechanism or a service to pushing data with the API in a multiple data source. AppSync exactly does this. This is a very important topic of solution architect, SysOps, DevOps, and developer, not really, but then if you're attempting for solution architect, maybe it's a associate or a professional level. This is very important. Questions typically asked in interviews are when is the right way to use Kafka compared to ActiveMQ, what is queue services used for, and what else? It also uses what is efficient. Can you give me a use case scenario, which I exactly told you in this video? What can you give me a use case of SNS and MQ series and all that? I mean ActiveMQ and all that. So again, reminding you, do not forget to subscribe, share it, like it, and do let me know if there is any question within this video. Thank you.